I love the Sony A6700. It's a fantastic hybrid camera that I use both for client work and for my own personal uses. But there is one major issue with this camera. It overheats. So either you are looking to purchase this camera or you already own it and you're concerned about the overheating issue. Well, in this video, I'm going to cover all of the scenarios that I've personally run into this issue and what I do to overcome it. I use the Sony A6700 every single day. I use it for video conference calls. Anytime I need to meet with anyone virtually online, I use it for live streaming here in the studio. I also take it with me on client shoots. It's a great B cam to back up my FX3 and also my A7R5 if I'm shooting on site with clients. In a pinch, I can use this for photos if I need to. And then also personally, it's just small in size and it fits in a small size bag and I can take this camera anywhere I need to go. It's reliable and I think you get the hint that I really like this camera. Now, when it comes to overheating, there are some ways that I've been able to overcome this issue. Now, just to be clear, overheating typically happens if you're shooting in 4K. If you're shooting in 4K 24 frames per second, you have more time to record before it overheats than, let's say, if you're shooting in 4K 60. But generally speaking, at most, I'm seeing about an hour of record time that I can get out of this camera before it's going to start showing the icon that it's going to overheat and or I have to shut it off and no longer use it anymore. But there are a couple of ways that I have been able to prolong the recording time, and this is exactly how I'm doing that. So the first method that I use is I shoot in bursts. So if I am shooting in 4K, let's say I'm doing a home tour or I'm doing an interview, I'm going to turn the camera off and on in between recording sessions. So anytime the camera's off, it's going to give it an opportunity to cool down a little bit. I also just take my time in between those different shoots, and anytime that I have used this method, I've been able to prolong my shoot time and get everything that I need while I'm on site with a client. This is an external fan made by Ulanzi. What you can do is charge it ahead of time. See, it has a battery indicator right here. It has two separate modes, basically slow and fast. And all you do is attach it to the back of your camera. And because the A6700 does not have an internal fan, this is going to give you some nice airflow during your shoot. Now, I will say the battery life on this fan is not that great. Anytime I use it, I typically use it just in mode 1. Now, I live in Las Vegas, so anytime I'm shooting on a hot, sunny day, I'm actually not going to bring this camera at all. I'm going to use my FX3 or a different camera that can handle hotter situations. But if I absolutely have to use this camera in a pinch, I'm going to make sure that I have this Ulanzi fan with me. It is very handy, and it also will prolong your recording time if you are shooting in 4K with the A6700. This next one might seem a little obvious, but if you are concerned about the Sony A67 overheating, if you are a video shooter, you shoot in 4K often, and you shoot for prolonged periods of time, like if you are shooting podcasts or long-form interviews, or you're doing, full-day shoots, or you're shooting weddings or anything like that, I'm going to say do not buy the Sony A6700. The reason why it's going to overheat. So whenever I have this conversation with anyone, the next question is, okay, if I don't buy the Sony A6700, then what should I buy? In this case, I'm going to recommend the FX30. So this is a camera that's part of Sony's cinema line. I shoot with the FX3. I've shot with this for a number of years now. I love this camera. I've only had one overheating issue with the camera, but that was like an 120-degree day outside in Las Vegas. So apart from that, I've never had an issue with these cameras overheating. The FX30 has the same body. It also has internal fans, and it's a great option if you are a video shooter that shoots, again, for long periods of time. Then I would not buy the A6700. This is for all of you who are watching this video and are considering making the purchase. I'd actually go with the FX30. So the FX30 can take photos as well. So if you are primarily a video shooter and sometimes you take photos, take a look at that camera, and there is a little bit of a price difference. I'll place those prices here on the screen so that you can see the difference as of the recording of this video, but that's just my advice if you are looking to purchase this camera. And my last piece of advice is for all of you who might already have the A6700 or still want to purchase it. Don't shoot in 4K. If you're shooting a long form video, in fact, me for my business, if I am shooting podcasts that are longer than an hour, if I am shooting a long form video that's longer than an hour, I'm just going to shoot in 1080. This camera will not overheat if you're shooting in 1080. Now, I understand that there are concerns about quality, but I'm just going to share with you right now that all of the talking head in this video has been shot on the Sony A6700 in 1080p. And you can see that once this video is online and on YouTube, the quality is great. What I do is I take this footage and I will import it into a 4K timeline in Final Cut Pro. You can probably do the same in any editing program that you're using. So if you do want 4K footage, you can just upscale the footage in whatever editing software you're using. Now, you're not going to be able to kind of reframe your video in the edit. The great thing about 4K is it gives you some flexibility. So if you want to zoom in a little bit, you can still have a high quality video. But as long as you have everything framed up and looking nice during the shoot, there's nothing wrong with shooting in 1080. And you can see just by looking at this video, the quality is still great. Any camera that you work with or you purchase, it's going to have limitations. So at the end of the day, it's really up to you to practice and use your camera and figure out what those limitations are, and then come up with workflows to overcome whatever those challenges might be. So it doesn't matter what camera you have, there's going to be something with this camera. It is overheating, but as I shared in this video, there are a number of different ways to overcome that issue. If you have a way that I did not mention in today's video, I would love to hear it. Leave it in the comment below. And before you head out, don't forget to like and subscribe this video if you like this type of content. Thanks as always for tuning in, and I'll see you again in the next video.